Reimagining Success, episode 116. You're listening to Reimagining Success, the podcast where we help you reimagine your future, designing a life and career beyond the 9 to 5 that allows you the freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment that you've been dreaming of. I'm your host, Anna Lundberg. Now, let's get started on those dreams. So, did you do the thing that I asked you to do last week? If you don't know what I'm talking about, last week's episode was all around just doing it. Just make like Nike and do the damn thing. Do that thing that you've been hesitating about for a really long time. And if you haven't got in touch, if you haven't listened to that episode, I'd love for you to do that and let me know. You can tag me on social media, send me a private message, or you can email at podcast@onestepoutside.com. I would love to hear if you took that action and give you that extra little accountability as well, which can be so powerful. Now, related to this week, I wanted to bring to life a concept which I've talked about in the past, but I think it's been a while and I think it's so core, it's so powerful that I wanted to get into it again here on the podcast. And that is this idea of getting out of your comfort zone. And you may have heard that quote. It is exactly what I have built my business on. In fact, it's on the wall behind me. If you see that in my videos, usually, everything you've ever wanted is one step outside your comfort zone. Everything you've ever wanted is one step outside your comfort zone. Now, this is a quote I came across some years ago when I was doing my coaching, training and certification back in 2014-15. I actually developed this as what we called my power tool. So the idea of growth versus comfort, I juxtaposed those two ideas and how you can get out of that comfort zone and into that growth zone on the one hand. And it was also my specific bespoke coaching model, very much based around this, that I developed as part of that training. So it has always been the foundation of the work I've done, and I have lots of frameworks I've developed on top of that. And it was a lot of the initial work I did was quite broadly around getting out of your comfort zone, setting those goals, challenging yourself, and so on. So really it's fundamental to what I believe. It's fundamental to what I think will make the biggest difference for so many of you, as it has done for me. So I wanted to get into this a little bit more. So if you haven't come across this concept before, or maybe you just want that little reminder, then listen up. So if you can imagine, and I have a graphic on this, so if you're interested, email me at podcast@onestepoutside.com or get in touch wherever we're already perhaps in touch, in contact on social, and I can send it over to you just so you can visualize it. But if you imagine if you will, there's a circle at the center of this graphic, and that is your comfort zone. That's where you are now. Now, if you have been many years in the same industry, same role, same relationship, same country, city, village, a lot of consistency, same basically something. In particular, of course, I talk about that same corporate job and role and that same sort of conveyor belt path, then it may be, and it's likely, that comfort zone will be quite small. It'll shrink around us. Ironically, when we come straight out of university, we're full of ambition and confidence and so on. And then for whatever reason, as we gain experience and knowledge, for many of us, that comfort zone shrinks. Maybe you've been off on parental leave and coming back into the workforce, then suddenly you're worried and you haven't been to meetings, you haven't been in that corporate environment. Maybe after working from home a long time with the whole COVID situation, as I record now, maybe coming back to the office after these lockdowns and so on, you're again feeling nervous and that comfort zone will have shrunk. Certainly, even from a lifestyle perspective, it's very easy for me to worry now. I wouldn't say worry, but I can imagine beginning to worry about getting out of my very comfortable routine of hardly seeing anybody, in fact, only leaving the house once a day to go for a walk. My baby, who I've had at home, of course, very easy to keep in quite it's too early to have a routine, but certainly pretty regular, very easy to put him down for naps and take him out for a walk and so on. Those things would be much harder once lockdown is ending and we once again live our lives as of course we want to. But as you can imagine, my comfort zone has shrunk very much, as I'm sure it has for many of you, from a lifestyle perspective too. Then now we're just from working from home, literally we're in our pajamas. We may not even be putting makeup on, washing our hair, which I think we should do personally. But we're not necessarily going out there and having the confidence and the connections and so on, right? Interactions with people. And that can very easily limit our comfort zone. So back to that graphic, we've got that center, the circle in the middle of the page, which is the comfort zone. Around that is the growth zone. And that, of course, is the exciting place where I'm encouraging you to be. And you're probably there tentatively or confidently already. You're listening to this podcast. You're maybe part of my other communities. You're clearly taking steps towards your personal development. And that is a sign that you're really focusing on that learning, growth, development. And that's really powerful. So there's that growth zone around the comfort zone. Importantly, we're not going to stop there because there's another zone. There's this sort of infinite universe beyond, which is the panic zone. The red, warning, warning. That's not where we want to be. So let's look at each of these in turn. So coming back to the comfort zone, and I'll pull up my graphic here so I can see it as well. And as I said, I'm happy to send this to you. Of course, there are lots of advantages to staying in that comfort zone, or at least to being in that comfort zone. Safety, security, stability, comfort, confidence, although within a limited framework, right? Sense of control, routine. You have that habit. You have a sense of ease because, look, I've done this. I can do this in my sleep. I'm really comfortable in my PJs. I'm comfortable in this role. Everybody knows me. They respect me. They know I'm great. So actually I can come into the office a bit later. They already know that I am good at my job, and so I don't have to be constantly proving myself. I'm seen as an expert and so on, right? So that's the positive side, and there are many positives. And by the way, understanding that is also going to help you to understand why you're not leaving that comfort zone because, hey, there's a lot that you're giving up there potentially. So those are lots of positives. However, there are some negatives. And for some people at some points in your life, that safety, security isn't a positive thing. It's something that drags you down. Maybe you feel sort of restricted. You're bored, you're stagnating, you're frustrated, you're doubting yourself. That self-doubt can really come into play. A bit average, mediocre in terms of the life you're living, and the fear of regret, really. I haven't done this. I wish I could do that. Last week I talked about, just doing it. And I think, staying in that comfort zone is where we're potentially almost definitely going to have that regret. We're not doing the things that we so desperately want to do. We're just staying in that comfort zone and plodding along. So those are the positives and the negatives. And it's important to understand that duality. Now, this wonderful growth zone where we want to be, it's exciting. I tend to say exciting and scary comes together. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking as well. We have that sense of anticipation, possibility, opportunity. As we take action, again, as I said last week, we increase our confidence. We'll learn new things. It feels new and exciting. We'll have that adrenaline going. We'll be self-improving ourselves. That's just a really vibrant place to be. Learning, growing, meeting people, starting new things, getting better at things, achieving things, right? That's the powerful growth zone where we want to be. Then we get to the panic zone. Now, if we take a step that's too much too soon, I guess, we can, get into that still quite exciting space, which is the potential panic zone. Some of us maybe like the exhilaration, the risk-taking and so on. However, you might really experience extreme stress and anxiety, lack of control because, my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel completely alone and abandoned and frightened, and this is not at all, the positive thing that I was hoping for. Excessive risk, way too much risk, a sense of danger. It's that fight or flight idea that I'm sure you've come across many times back in the days when we had the saber-toothed tiger attacking us. We needed to either stay and fight the tiger, I guess, or run away, or the tribe that was coming over the mountain, right? We needed to have that adrenaline kick. It's less useful now when we're sitting at our desks or we're trying to do some public speaking or talk to an expert or whatever it is, and we get incredibly nervous and that gets in the way. So excessive risk, danger and overwhelm, that's the negative side, and the panic zone really has mostly negative aspects to it. Now, this is very individual. As I said at the beginning, you can have shrunken, maybe is the grammatically correct way of saying that, shrunken your comfort zone into a small space around you. Maybe that feels really comfortable. Maybe it feels very restrictive and uncomfortable and stagnant, right? So the size of the comfort zone, and of course it's just an abstract concept, and the feeling you have there is different for different people, different stages of your life and so on. The growth zone, again, it can look differently. Maybe you've always been one for taking risks and investing in your personal development and improving and trying things and throwing yourself into strange situations. And then your growth zone is actually really big. That panic zone is way out there in the distance, off the horizon. You can't really see the panic zone. You rarely take such big steps that you panic. If so, you can just tentatively take those steps back, right? So that's the growth zone, again, individual to how big it is and what that entails. Someone who hasn't maybe taken so many unconventional, exciting steps and so on might find that growth zone quite scary as well. But again, it's just sort of pushing the boundaries of the comfort zone. We don't even have to leap over into the growth zone. We can just begin to sort of push them, make them a bit more malleable, stretch them, take a little step over here, take a little step over there. And then again, the panic zone, it might be the panic zone is way out there in the distance. It might be that you can see it literally a couple of steps away and you're just really hovering on that little boundary between the sort of growth zone. And yes, this is exciting, but if I go too far, then it's going to be a disaster. So it's an abstract concept, as I said. I find it really powerful to think about this, and it helps you to not think in terms of just black and white, which we'll talk about soon as well here on the podcast. So it's easy to think either I stay stuck and stagnant here, or, pretty comfortable and secure in this stable job, everything I know, or this relationship, or this part of the world, whatever that might be, this type of business that I'm running. Or I'm over there and it's, oh my gosh, it's so scary and it's so extreme and it's risky and so on, right? We see those two extremes. However, there are many different steps along that spectrum to begin, again, to tentatively expand that comfort zone, push those boundaries, get into the growth zone, learn, expand that growth zone. We don't have to take that massive leap off the cliff into the panic zone. And in fact, we probably shouldn't, unless you're one of those people who really thrives on that. And I think few of us really are that reckless, I think, that we want to throw ourselves into that alarming red zone either. So bear in mind that you don't have to do anything, of course. You don't have to take those massive leaps. You can start tentatively taking action. And again, as I said last week, just doing it, just taking action is going to create momentum, create more action, create confidence. So again, comfort zone, lots of positives, that safety, security, it's completely natural that this is where we are. And again, I took massive risks. I always have this picture of myself paddleboarding on the Mississippi some years ago. That feels now like a distant memory. I was going through a phase at the time of doing lots of physical adventures and constantly going out and meeting people I didn't know. And I was single and I was traveling the world and I was starting my business, and a lot of risky things, I guess, a lot of excitement and learning and doing courses and so on, right? Perhaps less so for a while, for whatever reason. Although, of course, I'm very much growing as a mother, as a business owner, as a partner, and so on. So, there's different types of growth as well. And then hopefully now in the coming years, I'll be again, maybe giving myself a little bit of a push as well to once again, after lockdown, after the kids are a little bit older. And so I'm pushing myself again to start going, okay, hey, actually, this is what I'd like to do. And how can I really step things up in my business beyond where I am now? And as we'll also be looking at in a few weeks' time, what got me here won't get me there, as the saying goes. And so that's once again that we can't just stay on that comfortable track and, I'll just keep doing these same posts on Instagram. I'll just run this same service with my clients, because the world is evolving. Your clients are moving on. You have to as well. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. So comfort zone, lots of positives, but also potentially really stagnant, frustrating, uncomfortable, ironically. Then we have the growth zone. It's really the optimal zone to be in. You can be, closer to your comfort zone, further away, whatever you feel comfortable with. You can sort of calibrate, I guess, back and forth. You'll be learning new skills, meeting new people, facing challenges. And yes, again, a little bit scary, but exciting is sort of the bigger, on balance, I guess it's more exciting than frightening. And by the way, it's fine now and then to head back to the comfort zone. One metaphor which I had with a coach, I think, I can't remember who of us came up with it. It was a partnership, really, so it doesn't really matter. But we came up with this idea that I had been flying too freely because I was single, in no relationship. I had no job. I had no home, essentially. Everything was so up in the air that I was sort of fluttering around in space, and I was just too far off the ground. So what I wanted to do was not to go back to the ground. I didn't want to go back to my comfort zone all the way. I just wanted to land on a branch of a tree and take a breath, stay there for a little bit, and then I was ready to get off again, right? So it was for me, very important to keep going, but not just to fly through space and not have any kind of base, any kind of support, I guess, but really to keep now and then, you fly off. Oh my gosh, okay, I need to maybe withdraw a little bit, consolidate, feel a bit more confident and comfortable, land on that branch, and then I'm ready again to fly off to a higher branch and so on, right? So that was an image that helped me, and it might be relevant for you as well. And again, remember, if you're pushing yourself too far out, I'm all for growing and developing and learning. That doesn't mean we have to get into that panic zone. If you are feeling so super stressed and anxious and worried, it means probably you've taken it too far. You haven't got the support network that you need and want. You haven't asked for help. You haven't, maybe in the case of, businesses own, looked at your finances properly, gotten the advice, and you haven't done the due diligence to test your idea before you've gone out there. You've taken maybe, or you might be feeling like you're taking unnecessary, excessive risk. So that's when the panic zone, again, maybe come back to that branch, or even fly down to the ground and take stock, regroup, and then think, okay, wait, hang on a second, what's the better way to manage this, right? So again, I can send you this graphic if you're interested. Just let me know. It's something I developed many years ago, so it's not something I share more broadly anymore, but I think it's such a powerful concept. So remember, everything you've ever wanted is one step outside your comfort zone. That means that you can do so many things. I think we underestimate what's possible over time. And again, remember the one step. We don't have to take a massive leap. We can take that little step and another and another and another as we gradually expand, stretch that comfort zone, stretch the growth zone, and ultimately get to where we want to be without taking those ridiculous risks to our health, to our family life, our finances, whatever it might be. So I hope that was useful. I hope you share my belief in this idea of the importance of growth and personal development and learning. And I know so many of you do. I think it's such a powerful perspective. And of course, again, because you're listening to this podcast, of course, I am going to assume that you understand and believe in the power of listening to different experts and learning different concepts and pushing yourself. So as ever, try to think about how you can apply this idea. Have you been feeling, and we talked about this last week as well, have you been feeling a bit stuck and stagnant? Whether you're in that corporate job feeling, hey, I've been on this path for many years, as some of you are, or you're already a business owner, but hey, actually, I've been plodding along at this comfortable level. Now it's time to hire someone in my team. Oh my goodness, super scary, right? So start paying someone, even if it's a freelancer, begin to outsource or create that new program, or pitch yourself to the media, or work with that higher level coach, join a mastermind to really help you up level in your business, right? So whatever stage of life, business, career you're at, it's very easy to once again get back into your comfort zone. And we just can't do that. We just can't stay there in that, albeit sort of stable, sort of secure world, because of course as well, things aren't as stable and secure as we think. We can be shaken to, unexpectedly as well. So that's important. Much better to be in control of the changes, to push ourselves, to disrupt ourselves, as it were, rather than to allow others, our employers and the economy and so on, to disrupt us. So best of luck with getting out of your comfort zone, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Reimagining Success with Anna Lundberg. If you're looking for support and encouragement as you begin to reimagine success in your life, then come on over and join us in the One Step Outside Facebook group. You'll find like-minded people who will cheer you on, as well as free training sessions and lots more. To join, visit onestepoutside.com/community, or just search for One Step Outside on Facebook. I'll see you over there.